Hello, I'm Cat, and have you ever picked up a physical copy of Minecraft and noticed that the box art doesn't look anything like the actual game that it's trying to sell you on? The same is true for update trailers, and although these look the same, using the same texture pack, it's nothing like the game, which to me is kind of lame. This pack that they use for all of these though was recently found by Merl of all people, and today I want to explain exactly why it even exists and what the benefits of using this in trailers truly is. That's what we're going to go into today, right after a word from our sponsor, because hello, I'm Cat, and this video is sponsored by me. Just over 12 hours ago, I announced the launch of the Cat Founders Edition card. This is an iconic moment in the channel, I think we can all agree, and it's something that is currently on sale, and they are all going to be shiny. They will all come with this collector's slab, which makes it perfect for a display of similarly rare and sentimental items, and the sale will end at 1,000, and that's when the process of me signing every single card before they go out to you will begin. This is something you can only get for a short period, and in the first 12 hours we already sold over 50 of them, so make sure to go to creocards.com/ibxtoycat if you would like to get one right now. But speaking of right now, let's get back into the video, because how exactly did this come out? Well, the answer is Merl. Merl was the official mascot of Minecraft Earth, the now often forgotten about competitor to Pokemon Go, and she was found with her purple cat Peanut Butter, but both of these features went away forever when Minecraft Earth got shut down, until this year, where they decided to bring her back, and I'm not being sarcastic here, as a support virtual agent powered by generative AI. This sounds kind of silly, but it is very true, you can trust me, and what's wild about it is you might have seen some memes about just how poor of an AI she is. She has so many guardrails, to be fair, because it's Minecraft, that she doesn't really give useful information, and sometimes you can ask her direct questions that she should know because she has a full database of Minecraft facts, like do Striders die in the overworld, and she responds saying Striders cannot survive in the overworld because they'll burn in daylight and are not naturally found there. To be fair, the last third of that is true, but the other 2/3 is not. Indeed, going even wilder, you can ask Merl, how do I eat a turtle? And she'll respond, in Minecraft, you cannot eat a turtle. Instead, you can obtain turtle meat by defeating a turtle. These are the silly memes that have come from Merl, and it's why many people would not probably go to her as a serious source of advice, which is something Mojang were looking to change because they just gave her a fresh, brand new redesign, and you notice what that is in the background there? That is Minecraft's, equivalent of bare bones, their trailer slash, box art resource pack. Everything is super simplified, and if you look at this and assume that, yeah, well, this is just a PNG, so what's the point, Toycat? Well, you'd be missing that Minecraft over-engineered the solution. You see, instead of just having a PNG, this is a true scene which you can extract from it, and you can save it as a Blender file, giving you access to all of this. This is what Mr. Potato Man decided to do, and if we look around, you can see that all of the individual textures are stored here in their full, which means that what has been done is on the Minecraft wiki, you can now see the textures for all of these blocks and how they look inside of Minecraft's resource pack. Again, I find it fascinating that things like sniffer eggs and command blocks are in here. Almost every single block here, including the ones that we haven't seen in any trailers, have been retextured into Minecraft's what you might call bare bones like pack. This is something that is incredibly exciting, and the reason is because people have been trying forever to recreate Minecraft's trailer texture pack style. In fact, it's not just something that you can download by taking this and putting it into a resource pack. People have done that just using the textures they've seen from trailers, and there are multiple copies existing across Java and Bedrock, and so I figure it might be interesting to see exactly what those look like when we put it into our game. Okay, part 2 of the video. How exactly do we get our hands on bare bones, the very rough recreation of what exactly the trailer pack is? Well, you can't search on the marketplace because no pack is available there, and I'm sure for legal reasons it probably can't be if this is based on Minecraft's own internal pack, and so instead you can go to MCPEDL or your favorite equivalent site, Modrimp has a copy, and you can find a version of this texture pack. This is something that is delightful to see, but to really understand it, I feel like we have to put it on a world that everyone understands, and so this is Toycat's Let's Play world. I'm going to download the latest copy. It just got an update, which is, as always, free to download. I don't put out different copies of the map based on what year it is. It does have real costs for me, but every single version of this does come inside of this, but we're going to download this map and apply bare bones to it. Okay, I am here, and honestly, my first instinct when looking into the distance at my lighthouse or my skin of myself, or even at the bed or something like that, it actually looks very much like regular Minecraft, right? This is by design, but it's still shocking to see, because whenever I look at any shot from a trailer, I just immediately notice what is going on here and how it's different. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's throw in let's put on some gear. This is something I have for anyone who joins the world via the regular download or the marketplace one. And let's put on all of this stuff and then go look around, shall we? Oh, actually, should we read the book? Yeah, it's updated to say 12 years of updated adventures. Although now it's 13 years, so I guess this book will be continually out of date. Maybe I should just say you can explore the last double-digit teenage years. Oh, I'll put 13 to like 50 or something like that. Anyway, with that said, this is it's not meant to be hard child survival, but this is my book. This is my world. Let's go now and see what it looks like, because I have one thing in mind that I just can't shake, and it's the tutorial part of the world. I'm so curious what the TU1 tutorial would look like with bare bones. Would it have been better because it'd be more obvious to see, or would it have ruined the entire charm of it? Well, first, let's go into some of the natural terrain, because here you can see that when we go out towards the back of my Let's Play house, where it is still surprisingly, default terrain with just a few trees removed, you can see that everything does look very clean. Looking at the trees, there's not this complicated texture, it's just a big green blob. Looking at the ground, you can see that there is some texture to it, but it's designed to be very, very simple to read, and this really strikes you when you look at something like stone bricks or stone. It's a single texture with a slight outline to let you know what it is, but to make sure that there's not too much detail on your screen. At least that's the impression I'm getting from everything here. It almost looks like the classic plastic texture pack from the 4J days, but you can see that it's just a bit different to that. It's readable, but it's not specifically going for low res, it's just going for very, very easy to interpret. Some blocks do not have that different of a texture at all, while other blocks have the most shocking differences of all. Like, I think that looking at this torch, you can see, yes, so much has been lost from it in the name of making sure that it stays very simple. The same is true for looking at, like, this diamond chest plate. Look at how simplified it is. This is actually a delightful texture pack in its own way. But now let's go see some iconic builds in this. My world looks so good when you take it off a realm and you get the render distance like this. It's insane. But yeah, looking at things like my Nebrak mountain or my giant crab, they look pretty much the same, actually. The same is true for my American, my panda, my microphone over there. The same is true for lots of big builds, especially these. You can see that they look basically the same with just a tiny bit less visual noise on board of it. Indeed, looking at the sugarcane farm, it looks very much identical, just with a slight bit of, color smoothing going on, which means that all of the builds in this world are looking pretty similar, actually. At least all of my simple builds are. Some of the more complicated ones, I'm sure, are going to have a bit of a mess. So I would guess, for example, that my big B, this is my big B over here, I would guess that builds like this get, oh, actually, that's a real improvement, isn't it? Yeah, it's a massive improvement. Some builds get a real big upside, and some of them seem to be getting basically no change whatsoever, which is better than I was expecting. Okay, so I've been showing my favorite builds so far, but something I can't help but test is what about my official ugliest build? I made this from every block that builders on YouTube said were ugly, and I put them all together, and honestly, yeah, it's incredibly ugly still. Honestly, actually, I think it might be uglier. I think that this is a case where the beauty of the ugliness has been lost by making each of the textures slightly better to understand. I think the emerald blocks look too good, and therefore, this is actually a bad thing. Yeah, that sounds like a crazy opinion, but I really do hold it. I think that my ugly build has been ruined by this texture pack. Oh, on the other hand, some builds actually get such a massive upgrade. I think cobblestone mixed with smooth stone here works so much better than it does in vanilla. On the other hand, if we go to something like that that's meant to be iconic, like this, the Xbox 360 Battle Minigames lobby, you can see that actually, yeah, when you're expecting something to look a certain way, it does seem like it gets made a lot worse. Also, terrible. Rain starting the moment after we do the world. This is a terrible mistake and I'm sorry for it. But yeah, you can see that mobs definitely are looking how they're, they're looking in theory how they're meant to, but there's something a little wonky and janky about it. And indeed, I mean, it's not terrible, right? But it definitely is something about how mobs look. So my biggest, complaints so far would be ugly builds, iconic builds, and mobs. I think those are the three things I don't like. Everything else I look at, and it's actually incredibly smooth. but let's go over to Mince Rat and let's find out if that stays. So I think, I could be wrong about this, I think I put a bed in one of these houses. Not in this one. Not in this one. Again, this whole place is flooded. It shouldn't be, but this is one of the delights of building a a special version of the tutorial world. Okay, though, now it's time to answer my very big question. What does it look like when we are inside of the tutorial world? This was a block-for-block recreation of it, and again, you can really see that, like, it's cool in its own way. It would be amazing if they filmed a trailer here. You could see this being the perfect place to announce, like, the Mounts of Mayhem drop, or like Chase the Skies or whatever. But as cool as the slight change of it is, there's something about it that just feels wrong. Whenever you take something that you recognize strongly, even if you were to make it better, I'm not going to say bare bones is better than vanilla, but if it were better, it would still be worse because it's not recognizable. This is why so many people hate modern Minecraft updates. Technically speaking, you might make a mob that's so much better than the default one, but despite that fact, even if you added turtle meat to the turtle, it just wouldn't hold a candle to the sheep. It wouldn't hold a candle to anything else like that, because these are the mobs we grew up with. These are the mobs that are always going to be there, and which cannot be beaten, because they have the most powerful force in the world behind them, nostalgia. This is why this world is, again, this is why the TU1 world is something that occupies so much of my thoughts, and indeed my active building time, as you can see right here. It's something that's really, really special to me, and so as a result, I think it's where this whole thing falls down. Whereas if we go to a more generic part of the world, one I basically haven't touched, let's go over here, then you can see that Bare Bones is actually a really decent pack for just like, yeah, if you were, say, speedrunning, or you just wanted to know what was there as quickly or simply as possible, you can see the benefit in this. Like, yep, there's a sheep, here's a tree, there's a mushroom, there's a nice spike. It's all very, very easy and simple for your brain to pick up, which might be why it's for the best if you're, say, building a trailer world that has nothing to do with the rest of your world. You know, like, because there is no such thing as the tutorial world in modern Bedrock or Java Minecraft, it makes sense that they need to build fresh worlds and fresh environments from scratch every time, but so you understand exactly where they are, they do it in this pack, so that you can immediately tell, yep, that is a forest with some birch trees mixed in. Oh, shouldn't have done that. Anyway, this is a perfect opportunity to move into part 3. So now that we know exactly how Minecraft's trailer pack was leaked, thanks Merl, now that we know exactly how similar it looks to Bare Bones, which you can put in your world, and how delightful or strange it can look depending on the situation, I think it's worth really taking a step back and saying, but why does this exist to begin with? Every time I see a trailer or a box art, I really have to think to myself, like, why does Mojang think that their own game is so bad to promote itself with? Seriously, look at the Xbox 360 edition cover, they've been doing it since 2012, and then compare it to the back of the Xbox 360 game, or compare it to the screenshots they used for trailers back then, and you can see that there's such a stark difference. Why is it that they believe that their actual game isn't very good for promoting it, and if they think that it's so bad, why not just change those default textures? And I think this is a two-pronged question. I think the first answer is that Minecraft is so iconic that even if they want to change certain things, they kind of can't. Minecraft did a massive texture redesign and cleanup, and they made a bunch of new ones, but they specifically didn't go back and do much with the cows or the sheep or with the grass or the bedrock. Certain Minecraft blocks are iconic, and so as a result of the same way that I think that certain things are just always going to be better because they look old, I think that Minecraft can't change certain things, and so even if Bare Bones was objectively better than vanilla, they still wouldn't be able to update it anyway. Maybe making it a choice would be a choice, but even that would be controversial, as we've seen from Vibrant Visuals. So that's the easy answer, but the hard answer I think comes down to the difference between how marketing works and how a real game works. I think a lot of people like to believe that just real raw gameplay is what they like to see, but I think that as we've seen with all sorts of different Minecraft builds, people love to see a shot of some things with shaders and vibrant visuals on. People love to see shots of other things in pure classic styles because different texture packs invoke different emotions, and when Minecraft is trying to make these trailers, they're trying to communicate what is happening as quickly as possible so you know what is new. They're trying to communicate that this is a world with creepers servers and mobs so that you know, wow, isn't that a crazy thing that I could build my own stuff inside of? When Minecraft is doing promotional material, be it trailers, box arts, or anything else, apparently even Merl's background, when they make promotional materials, they're trying as hard as they can to have something that is clear and simple and gets the message across of what something is without actually having to be a perfectly accurate representation. I think a similar analog to this in my field would probably be YouTube thumbnails. YouTube thumbnails always have a face that's like, oh, or they have like, you know, like, or, you know, it has to be an extreme version of the emotion that you're expecting to feel, because trying to explain, for example, that in this video, I came at it thinking that the texture pack was bad. I learned that, you know, like, what have they done to Merl, and how actually it can be really decent, even in long-term worlds, and so explaining the kind of journey of that is so hard, and so instead, I give it a thumbs up, or I think I'll probably do, like, a comparison of, like, bare bones versus vanilla or something. We'll see what the thumbnail looks like later, okay? But for now, I think it's worth saying that that thumbnail has to be a massive simplification, because you only have, you know, 1280 by 720 pixels, which will be smashed down even more by the time it's on your phone. You only have so little space to explain your point, and so is it worth, you know, like the viewer having to be confused, like, what is that block? What is this mob? When instead you can simplify it down to make sure that they know that the point that matters is, whoa, look at the spear, it's stabbing a guy, that's so cool. Whoa, look at the zombie horse, it's finally in survival. And so that is the reason why I think Bare Bones exists. It is Minecraft's way of promoting the game that specifically doesn't look like Minecraft, but it looks enough like Minecraft that you don't need to question it unless you ever go into it. That seems insane, and honestly, even as I come out of this video, I think to myself, like, surely there's gonna be a better conspiracy in there. But sadly, like the answer to most things, I think the real way that you can think about this is by simply saying that even though it's fun to make big narratives about how big companies be so silly, I think in this case it is just a very specific plan that they have that clearly results in a massive texture pack. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this one. Just a reminder, the zombie cape is in fact available right now. You have to do it this weekend. You won't get it immediately. A lot of people have done it. We just have to rely on Mojang Systems that gave the copper cape out to also give out the zombie horse cape. So kill 5 mobs, kill 10, honestly get the mob kebab achievement, make sure that the game is registered that you killed 5, and you should get a zombie horse cape. But if you want something even rarer and more valuable, because there's going to be a lot more than 1,000 zombie horse capes, you could get one of these. You have a limited amount of time, so make sure to order today down there. It's already another 10 sold since the start of this video. I have no idea how, but go check it out. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.